In this video, I'm going to share with you guys the top 3 class setups for the M13 assault rifle here in Call of Duty Warzone. So I hope you guys like the class setups and enjoy the video. So what's going on, ladies and gents? My name is Arbuckle. Welcome back to another video. Today we are once again back on Call of Duty Warzone, and I wanted to share with you guys the best 3 M13 class setups here in Warzone. I'm going to share with you guys 3 different types of class setups for different play styles. The first class is going to be a super aggressive rushing class. The second is going to be a super defensive class setup, and the third is going to be an overall quote-unquote olive cart class setup for those of you that have multiple play styles and want something that's good from long range and close range. So hopefully you guys will be able to pick one of these class setups or multiple class setups and do well with them here in Warzone. What you're going to see in the background during this video is some gameplay testing each of these weapons against veteran bots and multiplayer. Keep in mind it's a little different in Warzone since obviously players are going to take a little bit longer to die. However, I just wanted to share with you guys a little gameplay so you get an idea of what each of these weapons look like and how it plays. So hopefully that helps you out in the long run. But nonetheless, some really good class setups here that hopefully you guys will enjoy. So if you guys take a look, the first class setup that I'm going to share with you guys is the rushing class setup. So this is going to be a super aggressive class setup that's meant for extremely close ranges. This is going to be pretty much garbage from medium to long range. So if you're an extremely aggressive player, this will be the class setup for you. So if you guys take a look at the stats that we're going to get with this specific class, you'll see that we get a really nice boost to mobility, which is going to be obvious here with an aggressive class. We end up losing a decent amount of control as well as a small amount of range, and we end up getting just about average accuracy, which is pretty surprising. Generally the rushing class setup we lose accuracy as well, so it's nice that we still have that. Obviously the M13 is pretty much a laser beam, so that would explain why the accuracy doesn't really go down, but nonetheless really good rushing class setup for this M13. So if you guys take a look at the attachments that we're going to be using with this specific class, you guys will see that we're not going to be using a muzzle. The barrel that we're going to be using is the Tempest Mini. So this is going to give us aim down sight speed as well as movement speed and a really nice boost to mobility. So again, that Tempest Mini barrel. The laser that we're going to be using is the 5MW laser. So having this on is going to be really important, giving us hip fire accuracy as well as sprint to fire speed. If you're running around corners, running through doorways, or running into someone from point blank, this is going to be a really nice attachment to have, as you can start pre-firing without even aiming and have pretty good accuracy and get those bullets off first. So the 5MW laser, really great way to go here. We're not going to be using an optic, and not necessary for an aggressive class setup. The stock that we're going to be using is the FSS close quarter stock. Now I kind of bounce back and forth between the no stock and the FSS close quarter stock here, and I think that the FSS is definitely a little more worth using. With the no stock, you end up losing even more range and control and makes this thing an absolute nightmare. So keeping that close quarter stock on, we get that aim down sight speed as a pro, and we don't lose as much range and control here. So the FSS close quarter stock, a really great attachment to use. We're not going to be using an underbarrel. The ammunition that we're going to be running is the 60 round mag. So this is pretty much a necessity with any class setup here in Warzone, regardless of your play style. Obviously, since it takes longer to take people out, you're going to want to run a high round mag. So that's 60 round mag ammunition. And last but not least, the rear grip that we're going to be using is stippled grip tape. So this is always a great attachment to use, whether you're playing Modern Warfare multiplayer or Warzone, giving us aim down sight speed as well as sprint to fire speed, and one final boost to mobility. But I'll give you guys one last look at all the stats and attachments that come with this specific rushing M13 class setup. If you guys have any questions about this, make sure to leave it down in the comments, and I'll be sure and try to help some of you guys out. But the second class setup that we're going to be jumping into is the defensive class setup. So this is going to be for those of you that like to camp it out, whether you're going to sit in a building or sit anywhere on the map and just try to shoot people from extremely long ranges. This will be a class setup for you. So if you guys take a look at the stats that we're going to get with this specific class setup, you guys will see that we get a massive boost to accuracy and range as well as a small boost to control. We end up losing a decent amount of mobility, which obviously isn't going to be that big of a deal if we're going to be camping with this thing. Also in Warzone, most of your gunfights, if you're not playing aggressive, are going to be from pretty long ranges. So this will be an absolute laser beam. So if you guys take a look at the attachments that we're going to be running with the defensive class setup, The muzzle that we're going to be using is the monolithic suppressor. This is going to give you sound suppression as well as damage range and a nice boost to accuracy, range, and control. I think with most weapons in Warzone, running that monolithic suppressor is always a really great way to go, and you'll see most players in Warzone using that. So for the defensive class setup, we're going to use the monolithic suppressor muzzle. The barrel that we're using is the Tempest Marksman, so we're getting damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control with this, and this is the barrel that's going to give us the biggest boost to that accuracy, range, and control. So again, the Tempest Marksman barrel. We're not going to be using a laser, not necessary on a defensive class setup. The optic that we're going to be using is the Cronin LP945 Mini Reflex. Now, I'm only recommending an optic with the defensive class setup because we are probably going to have most of our gunfights from extremely long ranges. Having an optic is going to be key, and to be honest with you guys, this is more personal preference. I really enjoy using the Mini Reflexes. I know a lot of you that watch my videos end up using different types of scopes. You know, you have one that you personally like more than the others, and I want you to run the optic that you feel more comfortable with. I wouldn't recommend running something massive on your gun like a VLK 3x optic. That's a little overkill, but something that you can use to hit people from long distance. Again, I just like the Mini Reflexes, so the Cronin LP945 is what I'm rocking with here. We're not going to be using a stock. The underbarrel that we're using is the Commando foregrip, so this is going to give you recoil stabilization as well as aiming stability, giving you a nice boost to accuracy, range, and control. However, keep in mind, guys, the aiming stability pros that you get on any of the attachments here with the M13 are going to be pretty much useless, so disregard the aiming stability because that focuses mainly on idle sway, which we don't have on an AR. But nonetheless, the Commando foregrip is a great way to go because not only do we get recoil stabilization, but unlike pretty much all the other underbarrels, we're not losing aim down sight speed. So the Commando foregrip. And last but not least, the ammunition that we're rocking with is the 60 round mag. So like I said, this is a very important thing to use here in Warzone, and you'll notice a huge difference between using this and not using any extra ammunition. So I'll give you guys one last look at all the stats and attachments for the defensive M13 class setup. Again, if you have any questions about this specific class setup, leave a comment down below and I'll try to help you guys out. But last but not least, we're going to jump into the overall quote-unquote a la carte class setup. This is really the jack of all trades and is good from all ranges at all play styles. And hopefully you guys like this one. It's one that I tend to use a lot here in Warzone. So if you guys take a look at the stats that we're going to get with this specific class setup, we still get a really nice boost to accuracy and range. We end up losing a decent amount of mobility. Most of that comes from the 60 round mag and that monolithic suppressor. And we actually get a pretty nice control boost here. So this is another laser beam of a weapon that hopefully you guys are able to do well with. So if you guys take a look at the attachments, again, the muzzle that we're going to be using is the monolithic suppressor, pretty much important on every weapon that you use in Warzone except for those extremely aggressive class setups. So the monolithic suppressor muzzle. The barrel that we're going to be using is the Tempest Marksman, so we're keeping this the same. The other two barrels are pretty garbage. The Mini is obviously for close range, and the Cyclone, we can't use the monolithic suppressor. So the Tempest Marksman is pretty much our only option when it comes to barrel, so that's what we're rocking with here. We're not going to be using a laser. We're also not going to be using an optic. Like I said, generally with the optics, it's personal preference, but you'll tend to see a lot more people in Warzone now refrain from using optics because the iron sights are still great. The weapon is a laser beam, and the optic really just hurts your aim down sight speed. So a lot of players, including myself, are saving that optic attachment and using it elsewhere to make the gun a little bit better from long range. So we're not running an optic. We're also not going to be using a stock. Now, the underbarrel that we're using is once again the Commando foregrip, a very important attachment here, giving us recoil stabilization and a nice boost to accuracy, range, and control. The ammunition that we're rocking with is that 60 round mag once again. I've seen a lot of people running the 50 round mag, and I don't understand why. It shows that you lose more mobility and control, but trust me, the 60 round mag is definitely the way to go here. And last but not least, the rear grip that we're going to be using is rubberized grip tape. Now, this is actually going to make a huge difference with this class setup. If you guys haven't used rubberized grip tape on your ARs as a rear grip, you need to try it out. It's great. You get recoil control as your pro. Your con is aiming stability, which we already don't have because there's no idle sway, so you're really not losing anything, and you're getting a really nice boost to accuracy. The rubberized grip tape is really something that's going to make a huge difference from those long ranges. So if you're trying to pick somebody off from across the map, rubberized grip tape is really going to help you to be able to do that. But I'll give you guys one last look at all the stats and attachments that come again with this specific class setup. If you guys have any questions about any of the class setups that I shared with you in this video, please make sure to leave a comment down below, and I'll be sure and try to help some of you guys out. But I really hope you guys did enjoy this video. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see all you guys in the next video.